Welcome to 4 Oak Street. Well, in this video we're going to be talking about some of the comments that came back from that video, which was entitled "Can Manufacturers Do More?" That was very interesting. We're also going to be looking at a rebuild on a Class 108 and my schoolboy errors, you might say, along the way, and a new loco that's arrived, plus what are the new steps, or the next steps for the layout, I should say. So firstly, let's just go back to that last video, and there were a lot of comments, and thank you very much for the comments. First thing I want to say is that from years ago in the 70s, when I bought my very first Graham Farish 060 with the metal body, they were fairly basic and they didn't run fantastically well then, and they were around about £6. And then fast forward, yesterday I watched a review on a pannier tank, one of them by Dapol, and you look at the detail on the body close up and they are incredible locos. How they get that much detail, just like the real thing, is a real credit to how far it's come. And obviously because of that detail, it makes them more fragile. So in essence, we can't have it both ways. We can't be saying we want high detail, but we want them so robust that, you know, you can wear gardening gloves and repair them or pull them apart. So I think we have to give the manufacturers some credit for that in what they've done and how they've progressed the detail. But I do think that one of the possible reasons why we don't see any videos from them as to, you know, how you pull the bogies out, let's see them actually do it, you know, so we don't feel so bad when we're, you know, using a block and tackle and a tyre lever. But I think possibly it's because would they open themselves out to, well, we watched it on the video, it's not my fault, you know, that I used a welder to get it out, and so forth. So I think they've largely left it up to some of the channels that have been really good at doing stuff like This Way Works, etc. But I think, you know, those guys can't do every loco. So with this Class 108, I'll show you the bits that I replaced, and then I'll show you it running. And that was a bit of a journey of discovery. But I think in essence what we're saying is any help that you can give us, better schematics. I was trying to find out how this plate fitted, the one that goes and holds the motor in place, which way up it went. I was trawling videos, couldn't find a schematic, and you know, a week later I've probably worked it out. But how many times did I have to pull the thing apart before I got it so it was running right? So with that, I'll show you what I replaced and I'll show you a bit of it running. So let's have a look. So first thing was the motor went, and what was happening was I didn't know it had actually gone, but it was intermittently not running at all, and then once it did get going it had run perfectly, and then the very last time I went to use it I could not get it going. Now the time before that, I'd actually been able to, if you like, go around my shortcut monitors, my PSX ARs, which if there's any slight short, they buzz and cut the power off. And so I've got a way of getting around that. So I tried it again and it actually moved a little bit. And then all of a sudden, I got the smoke that came out, which is not the type of smoke that you really want to see out of a diesel. So this is what we got, an old Bachmann chip one of the first, which in all fairness have been really good. So that bit the dust. So with that, I worked out it was the motor. I actually tried pulling the motor apart, which was not a good thing to do, and there was like a bit of sludge in it, which was interesting. So I jumped on the Bachmann website and found they had, well, they actually didn't have any motors, but I was told or saw that motors from something else are the same, so I told them about that and they had them in stock, so I got a motor. The next thing I did was, previously I'd broken a couple of clips on this chassis, and also trying to get the bogie out, I'd broken a few bits of the exhaust and radiator, and I'd been trying to glue them on, and in the end I thought, bugger it, I'll get a new chassis. But then you also have to get the buffers out the old one, so I used a little bit of like nail polish type remover, and that softened up the glue and they were able to come out because they are metal. Then I also realised that the cab, which is here, has these brass or little tabs here, and I realised that I wasn't getting power through the rear bogies. So of course what that means is you're relying on the front two for all your power, and obviously it's never going to run as well. So I decided I'd get a new one of these. I think it was £4. I could have maybe worked around it, but I thought, well, why not? Then I also managed to lose the clip that holds the bogie in here. That flew off and has not been seen since, so I got a couple of those. So the mistake that I made was that the motor has a sleeve around it, and because I wasn't actually putting the sleeve correctly around that like bit of brass that comes out of the motor, the actual prop shaft was not engaging properly because the motor was a couple of mil back. So when I'd put it all together, I'd put it on the track and hey presto, no drive. So I kept working it out, and I got this upside down, that upside down, and I'm trying to find information on it. Anyway, eventually I worked it out, put it back together, and it's running a lot better. So I'll just show you it now. Up to its reasonable speed, about 45 mile an hour at the moment. But yeah, all running nice and smooth. So yeah, got there in the end. Anyway, we'll leave that one just buzzing around for a little bit, give it a bit more running. And this one has run superb straight out of the box. And I did put a Zimo chip, or the Bachmann chip, which I'm told is made by Zimo. But just beautifully smooth, quiet, and no sort of the motor sound is just like constant. It's not like up and down. So yeah, very happy with this one. Yeah, as I said last time, you just know when they come out the box, they just run great. Beautifully good slow running, no surging. Now, is that down to just the quality of the build, or does it also have something to do with the chip? So here comes the class 108. So running quite nice. So some people have obviously said that chips make a bit of a difference in terms of how some of the locos perform. So I thought I would try this new Bachmann chip, which so I thought I'd try this new Bachmann chip. This is an X18, and I have put it in one of my Dapol locos, the Western, which seemed to be sort of having this motor sort of surge, just slightly. You could hear it, just wasn't that constant sound. So definitely that's improved its running, but it hasn't done an awful lot for the wheels on one of the bogies, which don't seem to be particularly round, which causes it to sort of lurch a little bit. But obviously that's something that can be improved by the manufacturers, maybe just checking those things. I had a steam loco that had wheels that weren't quite right, and it just made the whole thing bounce up and down. Not what you want. Now watch out for a rail cam video. I'm experimenting with these very cheap cameras. So what I've used there is a chassis off an old coach, and to get the camera lower down I've built this sort of monstrosity on the front that holds the camera, which is ideal as long as you don't come into the curved platform. So I can come in on the middle track, which I've done, and it will go through the bridges. So I have been doing some video with it, but they're not particularly great, these cameras. I suppose what you expect for about £6, I suppose. Right, okay, so I'm now thinking, what should I do next? And there's a lot of unanswered questions as to what is going to be where. So I have decided that the gasometer is not going where it was before, and there is a new building that has been moved, which I will show you. So that's a new building that came, that will have a fence around it. That's some sort of power sort of grid type thing. You'll also see the lifting jacks in there now. There's lighting got to go in. But what's the next thing that I can do? So I was working out, so what is it that I know right now I don't have to go into a procrastination mode? Well, first thing that can be done is all this embankment down here can be done. So what's going in here is an embankment and also a wall, because I really do worry sometimes if I left that point against the train that's moving this way, it may require an airbag to come out unscathed as it leaves the board, because it's quite a height. So I can put this wall in and the embankment. I can then also put the wall in that goes down the centre, which has got like a 3mm in here, which will allow me to put that retaining wall in. Once I've then done that, I can ballast that, and then I can ballast pretty much all the way up to where the station is, and then it's a question then of working out my roads and also the height of things. So we're going to have a tunnel in here, so I'm guessing it needs to be a bit higher than what this blue foam is. So there's also going to be a road going across the tunnel, and then it's a question then of how I incorporate the station buildings, the fuel depot, housing, other buildings. I'm thinking a street on a slope would look particularly good, and various other things. So I haven't yet decided exactly how that's going to be, but I'm going to get on with that wall. So I do have enough of the printed paper that I got done a while ago, which I can do the grey wall which we see here. Do that similar sort of thing, continuation of the wall that's here, and also as we said, the wall which will be probably about 5mm along the edge here, and we'll still have plenty of clearance. So you can see there in the distance that class 24 just very nicely making its way up the helix. So that's about it. So that's the plans, and thank you very much for everybody that comments. It's really good to see people getting involved and all helping each other. So with that, I'll see you on the next one, and there'll be some progress on the layout. Thanks a lot. Bye.